Hi guys, so welcome back to my YouTube channel. In today's video, I'm going to show you how to create a lead form that submits to Telegram. So let me show you a demo. So you add the subject. So this is like a lead from your website. And then this is my message. Then we send. So you see a toast notification, successful. And then if we come back to Telegram, so this is Telegram. And then we can see the lead data. And in case we are using a phone, you get a push notification on top that shows you have some new leads that have come into play. So the starter project for this is at this repository. So I'll link this repository in the comments or in the description, and whatever you should start, if in case you want to follow along, you need to clone the initial branch. All right, so I also have an article that is detailing all what we are going to do. So collect leads easy using telegrams and get, this one is a telegram bot. So you can see this is a bot. This is a telegram bot that we are using to send messages to this chat. So this project is built on Next.js and Chakra UI and React hook form for form validation. And then, so our main focus is not to build the form. Our main focus is to submit the leads to Telegram. So going back to the article, so you might be like me who hates the complexity of receiving leads through SMTP. You know how sometimes it is a headache to work with SMTP. You have to deal with spam. Your leads might be going to spam. All those things might stop working, blocking, all those which prevent you from actually getting the leads, which is what you want, and start following up. And then also, these custom bots, you can configure them such that they send in a group or a channel. So these bots can send messages to a group or a channel. And then by that, in case you use Telegram for your own workspace, it's easier for now everyone to see. Maybe it's a channel it's a group for salespeople. It's easier for them to get the leads. Everyone will see the leads and all the push notifications will work in the phone. So the first thing you're going to do is to clone the repository. You're going to clone the initial branch because the master has the completed code. So in case you want to work with the completed version, you can go ahead and clone the master branch. So I'll just go through the table of contents. So the first thing you're going to do is to create a bot using the Telegram bot further. So the Telegram bot further is like the parent of all bots you might create in Telegram. This is what helps you create bots, delete bots, get tokens, all that. And then we acquire the bot credentials because you need to authenticate the bot. The next thing we do is to test with Postman or any API client, like the other client in VS Code. You can test with it. And the main reason for testing is to make sure your bot is working before you start using it. And the next step is to create a lead form. So this is the lead form I've already created for you. So that's already done. Our main focus is on submitting the data to Telegram, because as soon as you get the data, you can do whatever you want. You can send via SMTP or that. So we collect the data from the lead form and submit it to the Telegram API, and we format it as HTML. So you can see this one is formatted. We have, this is bold, we have new lines, we have emojis, we have all those. So this is formatted via HTML, and Telegram allows us to do that because Telebot API. So if you go to the Telegram bot API, it has docs. So you can also go through these docs and see whatever we are going to do. I'll keep this one open so that we can see how we can start working the bot. So most of the time I will not reference this article, but this one is there for you to go through in case you are stuck somewhere, or in case your preference is not to watch a video but to read and follow step by step, you can do this. So this has all the steps to work with. So I'm going to use the table of contents, but mostly I might not go deep into what I have written in the article step by step, but for the table of contents, we can start with that. So how this one is working is let's see whether I can get a whiteboard. So what we have is you need a Telegram bot. So a Telegram bot is just like a sample user, an automated user who can send messages. So let's see whether I can sketch something here on Miro. So it's taking time to load. So if you go through the docs, you can see the first thing you need to do is to authorize a bot. So each bot is given a unique authentication token when created. The token looks something like this, but we'll simply call it token in this document. So this is the Telegram docs. And then you can see the first thing it's quite easy, because to make requests, this is the syntax we do follow. So we use this API URL, and then we attach our bot credentials, and then we attach the method we want. So the first method you learn is the get me. So the get me gets the current bot details. Okay. So you can use get or post, but in this tutorial, we're going to stick with post, because post is a bit secure for sending data. All right. So this is what we are going to focus on this tutorial. So this is the syntax. We have the base URL, which is this. We have the bot credentials, which are prefixed with the word bot. And then we have the method. So you have so many methods. We have get me, get updates. So get updates gets you the updates for the channel, including the messages sent in the channel. So you can go through this and read them and see the messages, how we do. So we have the method called get updates. So you do have very many methods we can use, but for starters, we are going to use the get me. So how this one is working is we do have our form. So this one is the form, which has the data. We call it D. As soon as we get the data, we need to know. Then we have a Telegram. Inside Telegram, we have chats or channels, and also the channels. So let's say we have, so whenever you create a bot, you kind of like start a chat with the bot. Okay. So you can see I can chat with this bot. Similar way I would chat with a real person. So this one is this is a chat. So we said a bot is like a user, a bot is like your user. So similar way you could chat with someone on Telegram is the similar way you can chat with a bot. But now a bot has more functionality in that the bot, you can add a bot to a channel, you can give it access to a channel, and then a group. So this bot is like a user which you give permissions, but for our scenario, we are going to focus on the chat. So what do we need to start sending messages? So the first thing you understand is authenticating the user. This authorization is identifying the user or the bot. So in this scenario, we can call the user the bot. So this is our user, which is a bot, which has access to talk with us. So the first step is to authorize the bot. We authorize the bot to make sure it's our bot, or so that we can know which permissions it has. And then we need to send a message. So our main goal in this tutorial is to send messages to the chat that we have initialized with our bot. All right. So this is like a chat with the bot. Now this time the bot is like a user. So let's continue. So we need a way to send messages to this chat. So what do we need? We need the chat ID. Okay. We need the chat ID. All right. We need the message, which is in Telegram is called the text. And we need to say, how will Telegram pass this text? So we have another parameter we need to pass called pass mode, but it's not required, but it's good because you can see like this chat, it has formatting. So we have text. This one is like, we could use a heading, but you can see it is bold. It has two new lines here. We have, this one is bold. We have a new line, bold, new line, text, all these. So we need to tell it how to send the message. So if we get the data, we call the bot with the data. So chat ID, text, and pass mode. And that's it, guys. That's how you get the notifications, because that's how it should work. So the first thing you need to go is you need a bot. And how do you get a bot? So we call the bot father. So if you come here and say bot father, so you search bot father and check this username. So bot all in camel case. If you click here, you can start. And then to start, we need a new bot. So these are the commands that this bot, so this is still a bot. So we are creating a bot inside a bot. You can see it's like a chat, like I explained. So we can do some command like a new bot, and then we follow the prompts. So, all right, a new bot. How would you like to call it? Please choose a name for your bot. So we can say we can call this one YouTube tutorial. You can give yours a name that you'd like. And then the next thing you need to choose is a username. And the username you need to choose is the username that must end with the bot. And it can use snake case notation or camel case notation. So I could say YouTube tat bot. I don't know whether there is such a username. So the username needs to be unique. So that one is taken. You select a new one. We can say, let me do TWT, YouTube, TWT, YouTube. I don't like that name. So let me come up with a name. Okay. Let's do YouTube awesome bot. So I'm going to use the camel case notation. All right, so our bot is created and we can click here to go to our bot. So you can start a chat with our bot. So this is our bot. What I did, you click here, the congratulations, your new bot. You'll find it at this link. So you can click there and we start our channel. But right now we are not going to handle commands. We are going to handle sending messages to this chat. So we do have the token. So if you go back to the docs, you can see that to make a request is still simple. We need the base URL. We need to prefix the access token with the bot name, with the bot, and then the method. So we are going to start with the get me method, and then we build from there. So I'm going to copy this token, and then I'm going to open Postman. I'm going to open Postman. This is my Postman. I hope you can see. So if you go to Postman, let me copy paste this URL. So I'm going to copy this URL and then change the parameters that we are passing to it. So this is the syntax. And then let me go back to Telegram and grab the access token yet again. So go back here and then replace the access token. So you're going to replace this access token with that and then send a request. So this, I'm just sending a get request to the get me so that we can see whether we are going to get our bot. So we got a response from Telegram. That means our bot is authenticated, and you can see the name I gave it, YouTube tutorial, and the username I gave it, YT awesome bot. So our bot is working. So the next thing we should do is go back to VS Code and make sure we have data, and then start submitting the data to our chat, just like that. So, and also something I should tell you is that you can do sort of things. You can set a new name, you can send a pic, you can set, you see, set join groups. You can now add this bot to groups so that you can start managing the groups or sending the chats to the group. You can delete the bot, all that stuff. You can do it from here, the bot further. So the next step is to open VS Code and clone the repository. So I have some instructions. So I have instructions. We are just here. Okay. So we are going to clone this repository and we are going to clone the starter branch. So go to the folder that you'd like. So like I want to use this folder, and then so let me copy this command. This command clones this initial branch. All right. So I hope you guys can see. I hope you guys can see. I hope you can see so we are git cloning and specifying the branch, and then specifying that it's a single branch, and then the repository URL. So let's continue. Okay, it's working. Then you can code tg lead bot. Open it in VS Code. So let me minimize this. So I don't want to be always on top. So, and this is our folder structure we are going to start with. So let me install the dependencies. I'm using pnpm, but you can use npm or yarn. That doesn't matter. Then it is installed, and then we can run this. You can see we are in the initial branch, pnpm dev, so that we can see where we are at. So this one is opened at localhost port 3001. So localhost port 3001. So let's wait for it to load, and then we can start from there. So as it loads, there's something I could show you. So this is an Next.js application. We're using the app router. And basically what we are going to do is that in an Next.js application, we have the app, and the app is the initial interpret for application. Like it's the home page. So you can see I have a height. I've maxed it out to 100 viewport height. You have that lizard background, and then I render the component, the contact, and then this attribution to the owner of that picture. So just like that, and then in our contact form. So in our contact form, we do have a form, and then our main goal is not to work with the form. I have already inserted everything we would like to work with. Our main goal lies inside here. So whenever the form is submitted, the form has different fields as I showed you. We have name, email, subject, and message. So this is the data we are going to submit to Telegram. And in case I fill this data, so nothing is happening because let me just explain. So our main goal is to get into the on submit. Whenever we get to on submit, we have the loading indicator, and this is where everything is handled, because we are going to use something called server actions in Next.js. But don't worry, server action is basically a way for us to send data back to the server so that we can prevent executing. Like if we execute the logic to send data to Telegram in our client, like in the browser, this will be exposed to everyone and everyone can see our access token. So by using server actions, this one works like an API whereby we are calling this function, it's called an action, and passing it data. And if you hover here, you can see data is name, subject, email, and message. And then if you go to our contact submit handler, okay, if you go here, I think we use const, no problem. So whatever we have here is that this one receives our data. All right. And the data is simply the data. And then it does the validation. And then we reach to this point whereby we are console logging the data. So if I go to my terminal, you can see the data here, whatever I entered in the form. And this one is, you can see it is not logging in the browser, it's logging in the server. In the server, I mean in the server side. So this console log is the exact console log that is here. So our main focus from here is to send this data. So our main focus is to send this data. So everything is already hooked up, but there's no problem. So this is what we should do. As I said as I was showing you in the mirror board, I can remove this. As I was saying in the mirror board, we have the data. As you have seen here, this is the data we are getting in the backend. And then the data we need to submit to Telegram looks like this. You can see this is hard-coded data. So let me first show you. So you can see this one is hard-coded data. We have the chat ID. This is hard-coded data. Pass mode is okay. And then you can see this is hard-coded data. Boniface, age, school, budget. We don't want this. We want to submit our details to the backend. So the first thing we need is to get the chat ID. So how do we get the chat ID? To get the chat ID, we saw that we could send a request to the /getMe and it gives us the details for the bot. We have yet another function called getUpdates. So if we get updates, we're going to see the updates from the chat. So I don't know why it... Okay, so let's see. We don't have anything. So let me try adding something in Telegram. It's saying there is nothing. So let me chat nothing and then we get the updates. And the main reason I'm getting the updates is because I need the chat ID. All right. So you can see the first update was done by this person with this username and the text I did. So if you go back here, you can see I wrote a text called nothing. And then if I get the updates, you can see nothing, the data is sent. And then the person who sent, this is me, this is my username. And then the update ID, each update has an ID, message ID too. And then something this is what we need, and in which chat. So we can get the chat ID from here. That's the exact reason we are doing that. So as soon as we get the chat ID, so we could hard code this here, but I would rather add it in an environment variable. So if I create under .env, so I'll prefix this one with Telegram, chat underscore ID is equals to, it's not it's a number, but it doesn't matter. And then the next thing I need is that bot token. So tg underscore bot underscore token. So this token, you can remember where we got the token. The token is right here. I can come here and paste that. So that's our bot token. So you are putting these ones in environment variables. And then in our config, we export the Telegram bot token from the process.env.telegram bot token. And the reason I'm doing this in a config file is because I don't want to reference this inside my code. I want this to be referenced in one place so that inside my code, I can just do this and call that. So the next thing we need is the chat ID. So the chat. So export const tg underscore chat underscore ID equals to process .env dot tg underscore chat underscore ID. All right, so we do have those two. So if I come here, the first thing I'm also going to do is to check if I have those variables. So I can say if not tg bot token or not tg chat. If either of these is missing, we can throw an error. We can say invalid token, right? So that in case no one passed this or there's no such environment variable, this one will break. And then in our chat ID, we call the tg chat ID. The HTML is okay. And then we move forward to our text. So we can replace this one with backticks or template retro so that it can allow us to embed expressions. And by expression, I mean something like the variable. So the name, we're going to render the name. This is the syntax we use. So you use the $, and then curly brackets, and then the whatever you want to express. We could even do 1 + 1 here. 1 + 1. All right, but in our case, we just use a variable. So the name. We go next to, now we don't have the age, we have the email. And the email is $email. And then we don't have the school, we have a subject. And the subject is $subject. All right. And then we don't have a budget, we have a message. And then we don't have all this. We can see I'm writing HTML. So then this one is $message. Then I'm going to change the icons. So the email icon, you can grab this off from the master branch in our contact actions contact.ts. So the subject. And then finally this one. All right, we are now good to go. And then we start calling we want to make a fetch request, or you can use Axios, you can use any of fetch client you want. So we are going to do a post request, as I said. And then in our body, you are going to send the chat ID, the pass mode, and the text. And then I created this utility function here, get Telegram URL, takes in the bot token, and then After it takes in the bot token, it inserts the bot token inside here, and then we are using the method send message. All right. So everything looks nice. So I don't see anything that could go wrong. Everything is now working. We need to we fetch and await, and then everything seems as should be. So if we go back, let's do testing one. I am testing this functionality. So the form submission is successful. Okay, just realized we are using the wrong project, because now this one is submitting is the demo I had. I could archive this, and then this is the bot we are just creating, so we need to use this, and then we send. Some form submission failed, so you can go here and check what the issue might be. So we do have an issue, so let's try to fetch failed, lead submission, if not tg dot. Okay, so let's try to see what issue could have arisen. So we do have our data, chat ID, Telegram chat ID, and then you have the index that is giving us the chat ID. And then we do have the pass mode, which is HTML, and then the text. And then, okay, so we do have two of these. We only need one. And then we call the fetch, give it the Telegram bot token, and then the method. So this one should ideally work. So error. Okay, what is this error saying? I don't know why this has an issue. One should return a string. That's not an issue. So let's see the error. So why did the fetch fail? So let's go back and see. And refresh. Remember, we are in port 3001. Let's try this, and in case it fails, we can try. This is my new bot. So it's still failing. It's saying timeout. I don't know why this one is failing. At async type error. What is the type? So let's start debugging. The first thing we could debug is to see whether we do have the bot token, and then we can do pg bot token, and then we can do chat id tg chat id. So let's see whether we are getting this first before we proceed, and then I'd like to terminate this here. Or maybe I can throw an error here. New error, fetch fail. Right, so I'm just throwing an error so that it doesn't continue to execute, and then if I run this, it fails. But if you go back and check the data, so we can get the bot, we have the bot token and we have the chat ID. Right, so that shouldn't be an issue. Okay. So we do have a bot token and then the chat ID. And then give it the token and then the send message. So let's try this in Postman and see. Maybe you have an issue with the, maybe we copy paste that bot token. From here, I need the bot token. It should be this. And then the chat ID. So let me pull up Postman and we can test from Postman. And the chat ID is this one. All right, so I think we already have this is our bot. So we go to the send message. And then in our body, we are sending a JSON object with the chat ID. Chat underscore ID, which is equals to that ID. All right, and then pass mode, we use HTML. And then finally, we need the text. Text can say hello. And then we send this and see. So it has worked. The Postman is working. All right, so Postman is working and we have started receiving. And we have to check why it's failing on the, you have to see why it's failing on the, on VS Code. So it should work essentially. So it has an issue. We get the Telegram token, but the issue couldn't be, I don't know why there is an issue. There shouldn't be an issue because 26, line 26. Okay, do we have an issue with the chat ID? So let's see whether we have an issue with npm dev. So now this one is running on port 3000. So and then we add details yet again. This is so this form submission is failing. Didn't give us an error. Okay, so let's go step by step and try to see what the issue might be. So our form, we do have our form, this validation, and then if it doesn't validate, we do this. I had done this, so let's console.log validation.data. So let's see whether we are getting the data first before we even do anything else. We do send. So now it's working. Okay. So no, this is not the same. So we need to use the port 3001. I don't know why I'm keeping. So let's run port 3001. Let me see what is running on port 3000 and stop it. So this one needs to run on port 3000. I think I've been testing the wrong thing. So it's running on port 3000. So basically, you need to go to port 3000. And then we don't need this. You can archive this so that we want to send chats to this bot here. All right. And also we need to troubleshoot and see why there is an issue. So this one is what I think this one is the one that was failing. Yes. So this one is failing. And then we need to see the error logs. So if you check on our validated data, we do have all the data we need. We have the name, email, message, and subject. So our data is working. So the next thing we need to, so this one is failing at this point. It's failing here where we are submitting. So we might have a typo. That's what we are checking. So the name, email, subject, everything is as it should. Then we fetch. Okay, so before moving forward, let's console log the console.log tg bot token and tg chat id. And then you compare this with what Postman has. So you do that, it fails. And then, so this is our bot. So let's see, let me check, type check this. So it ends with 2q. And then the chat ID ends with 273. So this one is also okay. All right. So this is how you troubleshoot, guys. So let's continue. So the get telegram URL, this is what it returns. This one shouldn't be an issue. Then we give it the bot token. Maybe our bot token is okay. TG bot token. TG bot token. And then process.env. So let's copy paste this to prevent errors. So TG bot token. TG bot token and then TG chat ID. And then TG bot token and TG chat ID. The chat ID goes here in the chat ID. And then the bot token. Then we reach to the fetch. So our fetch is what is failing. Clearly the headers, content type. This one should work. So I don't know why this one is failing. All right. We have the bot slash. Let's copy paste. Let's console.log get tg URL and then tg bot token. Let's see what we get. tg URL. It's not here. Okay, so now we can refresh the screen and see. So this is a test. Oh, I think the issue was that I did not refresh the screen or something. So, and guys, you can see now we start getting the leads in Telegram. So that's how you debug. You start with step by step. What do you expect? Now it is sending. I think it had cached maybe, because as soon as I refreshed, it was working. So you can see this is how you debug. You first need to understand what is coming in my function. We are getting the data. Is the data reaching our point? You console log the data. And then you add a safeguard here in case the given person did not add these secret keys in the environment, so that you throw a new error. And then you come and catch that error here. So you move like that, you move, and get to the end of it. So if you go back and send new details, so if this is a client sending details, the client is called John Doe. And then you have John at example.com. And then we have, I need a website. And then, hey, I need a very nice website for my print shop business in Kenya. And then the send, this is should be okay. I am around already knowing what the error could be. Okay, the error could be, so the error would be coming from this is not hoisted. So maybe I could add it on top like that. I think that is what was causing the error. So John Doe, John at example, I need a website here. I need a very nice website for my business, blah, blah, blah. And then I send. It still fails. I don't know, would be caching or not. So good stuff. So let's see. Now it's sending on refresh. So you refresh it, sends. So you also get the new data for, oh, we need to send John's data. So let me see in the front end in case we have an issue in the front end that I'm not aware of. So if I go back to my front end, the contact component, everything here is working as expected. The loading, then the submission of data, the false. Okay, reset and return. We also don't need return here. Everything should be working as expected. So I'm getting a type error. Okay, line 38. Type error on line 38. So await fetch, get Telegram URL, give it the token, and then method is post. So everything here is all right. There might be a caching issue that is preventing it from sending. Okay, so the bot, we have an error dot here. Okay, so we could do that, and then we could remove the emphasizing on there, and then we come and add an exclamation mark telling TypeScript that these values have to be added. And then let's see what, okay, I think Mm. Hmm. So let's see. Say John at example.com. Hey there. Hey there. Here. Okay, it failed again. If you refresh, it should work now. So let's see. Testing. So if I refresh the screen, it is sending. If I don't, it is not sending. That's a bit weird. So you see, we got the new lead, but we are still getting an issue. And now it has started working. So we got the new lead as I had promised. So that's how you do it, guys. The finished tutorial is right here on the GitHub repository, and then you can follow along using this to show you exactly how you should work with it, all that kind of stuff, and then finally getting the lead. So that's it, guys, from me. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel and let me hear down in the comments, what do you think? Is this a good method or not?